A new drone footage shows chaos unfolding at Sydney's Bondi beach, capturing the final moments of a deadly attack that shocked Australia over the weekend. Police moved swiftly to neutralize the gunman as crowds fled in panic during a Hanukkah celebration. The footage shows one gunman opening fire from a footbridge before being shot and falling to the ground by responding officers. Authorities have confirmed this as a terrorist attack. 2 gunmen reportedly opened fire on the crowd along the beachfront, leaving 16 people dead, including one of the attackers, and more than 40 injured. Among the victims were Rabbi Eli Schlanger and a Holocaust survivor, highlighting the personal toll of this horrific attack. Police later identified the attackers as father and son, Sajid Akram, 50, who was shot dead at the scene, and Naveed Akram, 24, who remains in custody. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese condemned the shooting, calling it an act of pure evil, an act of antisemitism, an act of terrorism.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of terror, an act of anti-Semitism, an attack on the first day of Hanukkah, targeted at the Jewish community. A dark day in Australia's history on what should have been a day of light. And visiting the scene there at Bondi this morning, it was a very physical reminder of the iconic status of Bondi Beach and the Bondi Pavilion.
Following the massacre, Australian authorities launched Operation Shelter, deploying more than 300 police officers to protect synagogues, schools, and Jewish institutions nationwide. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns said the operation was intended to send a clear message that Jewish Australians have the right to practice their faith without fear. Albanese visited the site of the attack, laid flowers, and ordered flags lowered to half-mast, calling the violence an act of anti-Semitic terrorism. A major counter-terrorism investigation is now underway, with authorities examining the attackers' movements, possible accomplices, and any extremist links. Sajid Akram, who police said was a licensed gun owner, was carrying 6 legally owned firearms at the time of the attack. He was shot dead by police during a confrontation at the scene. His son, Naveed, was critically wounded, taken to hospital under armed guard, and is expected to face terrorism-related charges if he survives, according to local media reports. Authorities have since recovered the weapons and conducted raids at the family home, as well as an Airbnb where the pair were staying before the shooting.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location, Bondi Beach, that is associated with joy, associated with families gathering, associated with celebrations, and it is forever tarnished by what has occurred last evening.
The offenders are a 50-year-old and 24-year-old male who are father and son. The 50-year-old is deceased. The 24-year-old is currently in hospital at the moment.
Australia's most popular Bondi Beach is now the scene of its deadliest shooting in almost 30 years, in a country known for tough gun control laws.
Oh my God!
Police have confirmed the gunmen were a father and son, a 50-year-old man and his 24-year-old son. The older man is dead, the younger one is in hospital under police guard. This attack comes amid a year of rising anti-Semitic incidents across Australia, though authorities say there is no confirmed link so far. Investigators have revealed that the 50-year-old was a licensed gun owner. He held 6 registered firearms, all of which were recovered from the crime scene.
A very sad duty this morning to report that 16 people have been confirmed as being killed, 15 innocent people and 1 perpetrator. There are 42 people in New South Wales hospitals overnight, and the victims' age ranges are from as young as 10 to 87. A devastating fact. Obviously, the Jewish community in New South Wales are absolutely devastated this morning, and it's our responsibility to wrap our arms around that wounded community and let them know that ordinary Australians, regular Australians, are in their corner and thinking of them this morning after this terrible, terrible targeted attack on what should have been a joyful event that they have every right to share with their community on Bondi Beach last night. We need to send a strong and clear repudiation of anti-Semitism in all of its forms. In all of its forms. There is no tolerance for racism or Jewish hatred in New South Wales or Australia, and we need to be clear and unambiguous that we will fight it everywhere we see it, whether it's destructive, horrible acts of violence or chants, mottos and internet posts on the internet. Wherever it is, we need to fight anti-Semitism. It is toxic, it is cancerous within a community, and as you can see from last night, it leads to devastating, devastating implications for the people of our country. There's been overwhelming public outrage and support from the people of New South Wales, and I think from the people of Australia. There needs to be a time for mourning. We need to be in a position to bind up the wounds of the state's Jewish community, and many people are asking how they can help. The first thing, of course, is to listen to New South Wales Police and emergency services, but if you are looking for something practical to do, you could give blood. We saw extraordinary scenes from New South Wales public hospitals last night. Emergency departments, at the drop of a hat, were in the process of saving scores of lives. They did an incredible job, but they need your help. They need blood, and if you're thinking about doing an act of public service in the coming 24 hours, I'd urge you to contact the Red Cross and do that piece of public-mindedness, that piece of public-spiritedness. I want to say thank you to our amazing police force who acted bravely and diligently in incredibly difficult circumstances. Thank you to the paramedics who, in some cases under fire, transported the injured to New South Wales hospitals, to the doctors and nurses in our public hospitals, and lastly, thank you to innocent bystanders and civilians who stood up, risked their own lives to save other people's lives. This is a terrible, wanton act of destructive violence, but there are still amazing people that we have in Australia, and they showed their true colours last night.
Last night I announced that I had determined that it was a terrorist activity and made a declaration as such as 9:36 p.m. As a result of that declaration, we commenced Operation ARQUS, ARQUES, which is a joint counter-terrorism operation. That is New South Wales Police working very closely with our Commonwealth partners to ensure that we thoroughly investigate the circumstances of the incident yesterday. We have progressed at pace overnight with that investigation, and as a result of investigations undertaken, I can say that we are not looking for a further offender. We are satisfied that there were 2 offenders involved in yesterday's incident. One is deceased, the second is in critical but stable condition in hospital at the moment. The offenders are a 50-year-old and 24-year-old male who are father and son. The 50-year-old is deceased, the 24-year-old is currently in hospital at the moment. As part of the investigation, we conducted 2 search warrants last night, one at Bondi Rig and a second at Campsie. The 50-year-old male is a licensed firearms holder. He has 6 firearms licensed to him. We are satisfied that we have 6 firearms from the scene yesterday, but also as a result of the search warrant at the Campsie address. Ballistics and forensic investigation will determine this morning that those 6 firearms are the 6 that were licensed to that man, but also that they were used in the offence yesterday at Bondi.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location, Bondi Beach, that is associated with joy, associated with families gathering, associated with celebrations, and it is forever tarnished by what has occurred last evening. This was an attack deliberately targeted at the Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah, which of course should be a joyous celebration, and the Jewish community are hurting today. Today, all Australians wrap our arms around them and say, we stand with you. We will do whatever is necessary to stamp out anti-Semitism. It is a scourge and we will eradicate it together. The Australian Federal Police and ASIO are working closely with New South Wales authorities, and the briefing we've just had, we have had the AFP there, and the AFP Commissioner will return to Australia today. We will dedicate every single resource that is required in responding to this. To the brave responders, first responders, including ordinary citizens who acted yesterday, thank you for what you do. People rushing towards danger to show the best of the Australian character. That's who we are, people who stand up for our values. Flags will fly at half-mast across the country today as we pay our respects to all those lost and all those who have been injured. And we conclude by saying that yesterday was indeed a dark day in our nation's history, but we as a nation are stronger than the cowards who did this. I thank world leaders who have reached out, from President Trump, President Macron, Prime Minister Starmer, others right around the world have reached out to Australia at this time, and we thank you for your sympathy and your solidarity with our values. Australia will never submit to division, violence or hatred, and we will come through this together. We refuse to let them divide us as a nation.
Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu has laid some blame on your feet. What is your response to Netanyahu's comments yesterday that were pretty blunt?
This is a moment for national unity. This is a moment for Australians to come together. That's precisely what we will be doing.
Is it a failure that these men weren't seriously on the radar of our authorities?
Look, our authorities do an extraordinary job. As Commissioner Lanyon has said, investigations have already made some progress. The fact that there were raids on Bondi, the home in Bonnyrigg, and at Campsie last night. We will continue to provide every resource possible to the AFP and as well to our intelligence and security agencies.